Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
U.S. taxpayers risk $9.7 trillion on bailouts as Senate votes. The stimulus package the U.S. Congress is completing would raise the government's commitment to solving the financial crisis, which the banks engineered, I would add, to $9.7 trillion, enough to pay off more than 90% of the nation's home mortgages. Now think about that. See, most of this money's going offshore. Only $1 trillion of this is supposedly a domestic stimulus, and most of that goes to cronies and corporations and its corporate welfare, and more federal control and more unfunded mandates, where they give you a tiny amount and then most of it's unfunded. The Federal Reserve, Treasury Department, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation have lent or spent $3 trillion over the last 2 years and pledged to provide $5.7 trillion more if needed. The total already tapped has decreased about 1% since November, mostly because foreign central banks are using fewer dollars in currency exchange agreements called swaps. The Senate is to vote early this week on a stimulus package totaling at least $780 billion, they're talking about $1 trillion, that President Barack Obama says is needed to avert a deeper recession. That measure would need to be reconciled with the $819 billion plan the House approved last month. Now think about that. $9.7 trillion would pay off 90+%. Pay off more than 90% of the nation's home mortgages, according to Bloomberg economist. They tell you the problem's the subprime mortgages. That is not the problem. It's only one sector of the derivatives bubble, the crap paper bubble, where they took the bad loans and packaged them as securities and sold them and sold them and sold them and then resold them. And there's all these other derivatives. The homes are actually a small sector in that. Now the credit card bubble's coming due. The corporate debt bubble's coming due. The commercial real estate bubble is beginning to implode. The condo rental bubble is beginning to implode. We haven't even entered the serious crises. I kept saying 500,000 jobs were lost. They're now saying 600,000 jobs are being lost a month. A month. That's more than 6 million jobs to be lost this year alone. Do the math. It's 7 million or more. And that's with cooked numbers. And Obama's going to spend $1 trillion and then pay interest on it, so it's really $3 trillion to the banks. So the private Federal Reserve gives the money and won't say where it went, but they admit to banks. Then the government borrows the money back from them to, quote, create or save, that's a little spin there, 3 million jobs over the next 4 years, when we're going to lose over 7 million jobs. And these are paid for with tax money. And now they admit the police are writing more tickets than ever. They're running more checkpoints than ever. They're erecting all sorts of new state taxes all over the place. Right here in Texas, they've created 4 or 5 new taxes I know of as a business owner. New taxing authorities popping up, franchise taxes, business taxes, basically state income tax on producers. New York's passed 80-something new taxes on everything you can imagine in the first month of this year. All these other states are passing taxes, squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. We'll come back, talk to Lindsey Williams, get into more economic news, and take your phone calls. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the Infowars.com resistance. This is the tip of the spear.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Coming up, all these world leaders and top economists are saying there's going to be rioting and war in the streets worldwide. They're trying to introduce that idea to scare the public so the public goes along with troops on the streets. Over a decade ago, we made films telling you they were going to do this. This is how they do it in every other nation. Also, I've got just incredible police state news. 16 illegals sue Arizona rancher. An Arizona man who's waged a 10-year campaign to stop a flood of illegal immigrants from crossing his property is being sued by 16 Mexican nationals who accuse him of conspiring to violate their civil rights when he stopped them at gunpoint on his ranch on the U.S.-Mexico border. And they've burned down things. They've attacked things, different groups. Roger Barnett, we've interviewed him years ago. We're going to get him back on. Began rounding up illegal aliens in 98, turning them over to the U.S. Border Patrol, he said, after they destroyed his property, killed his calves, and broke into his home. I mean, every few weeks I read where in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, where it'll say 14 homes were burned last night in arson, and it comes out that it was illegal aliens. By the way, my dad for Christmas gave me a famous documents book. I meant to bring it in today. I hadn't opened it since he gave it to me at Christmas. It's got the Declaration of Independence and the Louisiana Purchase and, just hundreds of famous documents in it and little write-ups by each one. And I saw the famous telegram by the German chancellor that got intercepted by British intelligence where he was ordering the Mexican government to attack the United States. And they did attack in the plan of San Diego. In one town, killed 23 people in one night. And that's why we went into World War I. It was not the singing of the Lusitania. And here's this mainline history book admitting it. But I tell people about this and they just don't believe it. They don't know about history. Why we got into World War I was because Mexico launched a sneak attack with German funding.